We have spotted a second ship. We've managed to do a partial penetration on the main, on one of the main guns on the lead ship. This is another battlecruiser maybe, and this might be a heavy cruiser. It's difficult to tell, but I think okay, this is the Magnificent. So we're dealing with a I'm not sure what class that is, but relatively decent armor, 305mm guns and 150mm secondaries. So definitely a match for us. So we'll see if we can land some hits on target. I don't want to close in because they still have a large amount of light forces. I'm still hoping that the angles aren't great because she's coming straight at us, but I'm still hoping that some of their light forces will detach and will allow us to chip away a couple more from them. But right now this is all we can see, so we're being conservative with our ammunition, and we have managed a main tower penetration on this ship, which has damaged it somewhat, which is going to make their targeting worse. But I'm happy with this course for now, even though the chance of hitting them is not great. We've got like 15%. Lützow is still spotting. First Bismarck is ranged in on 14%, but it's a relatively low chance because of the distance. We're talking about an engagement range of almost 14 kilometers here. But again, I can't rush in because there are too many light forces. Oh, that was a nice hit. Another main tower penetration on the Magnificent. I think one more hit and we might be able to take down her main tower, and that would obviously be beneficial in terms of having them giving them less ability to aim. Forward group has closed the range somewhat, but is having we're down to 11 kilometers, but we do need to open up the angles a bit. The second group is giving a bit more distance, but the shell fire has just been too ineffective, and it looks like their light forces are not willing to do the same thing that their destroyers have done previously and give chase. So we will try to keep engaging the Magnificent at longer ranges and see if some of their light forces will be willing to detach and come after us. But right now it doesn't look like. So we'll be closing the range a little bit towards these battle cruisers or these battleships. That was an aft belt penetration, and I think the focus fire on the Magnificent is starting to show some effect. So we've got Döffling and Hansa in the rear, and we've got the first Bismarck and the Lützow in forward positions. We are closing to below 10 kilometers, which means that our guns are much more effective at this point. So we'll go straight and see if we can inflict some damage onto the Magnificent. The first Bismarck has a solution of 70% against the enemy ship. The Lützow isn't quite in range. Oh, is that another destroyer coming in? And indeed, that is another destroyer coming in. So I'm gonna need everybody's secondaries. That is secondaries focused on that destroyer. And in fact, the second group can completely focus fire on that destroyer, although I'm doubtful that they're going to be hitting that, but we will try. And the rest of them keep firing at the Magnificent and see if we can wear them down. Okay, that's another aft belt penetration. And I think it's the first Bismarck that has its solution built up really well. So Lützow is still spotting for her own splashes. And Hansa and Derfling are trying to hit the destroyer, but actually redirect your main guns onto the Magnificent again. I think there's no real chance of hitting that. Okay, we're getting some return fire, but these were some really good hits on the Magnificent. I think she might not be as magnificent anymore as she used to be. She has lost her rudder, she's lost her fire control, she is taking flooding in the rear, and the Warspite is now actually coming under fire as well. I would like to finish up the Magnificent if possible. So main guns on the Magnificent, secondary guns on the destroyer, main guns on the Magnificent. Okay, and the same with the second group. That destroyer, in fact, actually, I'm thinking of detaching Lützow and taking on the destroyer with the main guns. I really don't want to lose the Bismarcks. Okay, actually, it looks like the Magnificent is taking evasive action there. No, that's fine. We can keep going. There was actually a collision as the Magnificent has tried to evade Warspite, and it looks like she is taking severe beating from the 305mm guns at range. And that destroyer is concerning me. I'm not sure what it is yet, but so far our secondaries have been relatively ineffective in actually hitting that thing, because he's small and fast moving. The Magnificent looks like she's about to retire. So while we are focusing secondary gunfire on the destroyer, I am gonna keep the fire off at the Magnificent and see if we can finish her off. That would be great. Why are we shooting with the secondaries again? I think secondaries onto the destroyer. And that thing is, we haven't identified her yet, but it's a full health destroyer, so I don't think she's in a position. Okay, that was a hit from the 88s, a hit from the 152s. Okay, I think the secondaries are starting to become, she is coming in range of the 88s. The secondaries are becoming effective. We do need to turn, however, such that we're not getting into any torpedo issues here. Yeah, at this range, I think the 150s are starting to become effective, but we are getting a little. Yeah, the Magnificent is falling behind here. I think we will start targeting the Warspite instead soon, because she is definitely the one who is leading more. And we just need to make sure that second group is safe. Yeah, we're getting good hits in. That destroyer that is called the Welland. Okay, there might be torpedoes in the way. I am going to keep turning with second group just to make sure that avoid torpedoes, because there are also more small ships coming in. And we're going to keep... Yeah, there come the torpedoes. So I think first group is safe. Second group is going to turn away. And we are still... Okay, let's target everything at the Magnificent and see if we can finish her off. How's that destroyer looking? Not too good. So hopefully the small guns are going to be able to take it out. There come the torpedoes. Second group can straighten out. And we're also getting chased by... What is that? Is that another destroyer? That is... indeed another destroyer. So I'm going to get second group once they're done with this one to target everything on that destroyer. Once they're done with that thing, take on the next destroyer there, which means unfortunately that we are somewhat splitting our fire here, which I'm not happy about. So we'll need to move away a little bit and once again draw them out. Okay, that one torpedo looks like it could do something against Hansa, but I think Derflinger has... No, I think it's not gonna hit. It's difficult to tell because it's in the wake. Okay, that destroyer just blew up catastrophically. So start. Actually, yeah, I think that thing is done for. Start targeting the next one. Okay, Hansa has managed to dodge the torpedoes, so we're going to get her to turn into position again, and we are somewhat turning away, and we're going to concentrate fire on the chasing destroyer here. We're going to once again try and disengage and take care of the screening forces as much as possible while dodging their torpedoes. And then once these are dealt with, then we'll start refocusing our fire. So I want that destroyer out of the way, because that thing might still have torpedoes. And then we can form up again. Also, we are too far from each other at this point, so we're going to return to our previous course and try to link up, take out the destroyer, and then I think it's just the Warspite chasing us. I think the Magnificent the Magnificent is no longer giving chase. So let's see if we can deal with these chasing destroyers here. And potentially, what is this? Is this a heavy? It says maybe a heavy cruiser. I think that's a light cruiser, to be honest. So let's rejoin the battle groups, take down that destroyer. Everybody just focus on that thing. Second group, focus that down. It's the Zulu. She does have torpedoes, so we do need to be a little careful. But it'll only take 1 or 2 good hits, and then these destroyers are generally taken care of. We do have to, however, be a little bit conservative with the ammo. We have a fair amount of high explosive on the main guns, but it can take a while to take these things down. Okay, there we go. That was a good hit. What was that? It was from... Oh, we've actually taken a hit in return. What was it? The Hansa? I think the Hansa has taken a hit from one of the battleships. We did get a small hit on the Zulu. We just need to take that thing out. Okay, that was a good one. Couple more like that, and then she will just blow up. And then we can return our focus onto the Warspite, because that's, I think, the next one I want to take on. Okay, I'm going to start turning first group and start targeting HMS Warspite over there. While second group is going to turn the other way and deal with the destroyer and then the light cruiser. I think that is the better division of labor here. So first Bismarck and Lützow. First Bismarck has taken a couple of hits, I think, from Warspite, and I think that destroyer is about done for. So we're going to get her to turn and engage the Warspite that's giving chase. There's still another battleship, and the Magnificent is falling behind. So the Repulse and the Prince Consort are kind of guarding her. But I would like to, which means that Warspite has allowed herself to get a little bit isolated. So we're going to perform a turn here, and the other two are. In fact, I'm not sure that the Zulu is still giving chase, so the other two can turn around and see that they can get a solution also maybe on that light cruiser over there, while the rest of the group is engaging the Warspite over there. And I think Derflinger has trouble turning, but we'll figure that out eventually. The current engagement range towards Warspite is just under 10 km, which is starting to be the effective range once they have completed their turn. And they should be in a relatively good position. We're going to get Hansa to turn around completely, followed by Derflinger, and take down this destroyer, and then next that light cruiser over there. The Zulu still hasn't fired her torpedoes because she is again in a stern chase. So we'll see how that goes. And there we've got it. I think it was Derflinger actually that was getting a big hit in on that destroyer. So second group can now start engaging the light cruiser, the Topaz over there. while performing their full turn. While first group is lining up, first Bismarck has taken a couple of hits, but first group is now lining up to take on Warspite. And Warspite herself is already taking fire as well. So we'll see if these two can inflict sufficient damage to the British battleship to slow her down and maybe force her to disengage as well. Our ships have found their solutions and we are hammering the Warspite right now. She is taking on water both in the forward and aft sections, and the 305mm guns from our precise fire of our main battle line is definitely taking a toll on that one. So first Bismarck is getting some reasonable hits in, and unfortunately is still working on her solution, whereas the Lützow is a little bit better off, but we are managing to get some hits in nevertheless. The second group is now turning around, so I'm going to have to keep a bit of a mind of that, and is taking on the light cruiser here, and then can cut off any further forces that come from that direction. The Warspite is turning away, so we might actually give chase here. Let's go into the turn. The Warspite is trying to disengage after that punishing fire that she's taken. We'll try to close in a bit with first Bismarck and Lützow, all the while the rest of the group is engaging that light cruiser here, and that is, what is this, 5 kilometers range. That's not too bad. We just have to be careful with the Repulse and the Prince Consort back there, but I would like to get these two out of the way, and then we can do another turn and engage the rest in a crossfire. Okay, that looks like some good hits there. Main belt over penetrations from the 305mm. It is a light cruiser after all, but that has knocked out some of her engines. Her citadel is flooding, and she is on fire. I think a couple more good hits. We can probably straighten out the ship now to improve our firing solution. A couple more good hits will do her in. Meanwhile, the other battle group is now performing a turn to give chase on Warspite, which has flooding both in forward and aft compartments. So we might be able to. How much speed is she still capable of doing? The Warspite is down to 17 knots, so that should not be a problem for our battle cruisers. We'll straighten her out here because we are faster now than that battleship. Do have to be careful with torpedoes. That thing does have torpedoes, so she might have gotten some torpedoes away. Let's just do a hard turn with the Hansa, just to make sure that we're avoiding any kind of torpedoes. But I think the Topaz will drop speed to 15 knots, or 16 will do. So we'll do a hard turn here, and that hopefully throws off her torpedoes if she's launched any. And the Derfflinger and the Hansa should be able to take down this light cruiser without too much problems. Checking back on the Warspite, still not really a development. I think we are struggling to hit her now that she's trying to disengage, but that is why we are trying to get a little bit closer. And the second group is taking down the Topaz, I believe. So let's make sure that that thing goes away, and then we can actually perform another turn with the second group and concentrate fire on the Warspite from a different direction, such that we've set up a little crossfire. So let's just get that light cruiser out of the way. But I think she's almost done for. So her citadel is underwater. Her engines are knocked out. I think that ship is done for. So we get second group to perform a full turn and hopefully sink that thing, and then start targeting the Warspite as well. Our ammunition situation is still decent. Okay, Topaz is sinking, so second group target Warspite. Our ammunition situation is still decent, but we do have to be careful because of the sheer number of enemy ships. Now there is the enemy battle line coming in. Warspite is trying to... that is the Magnificent and the Repulse. We can actually get a second group to start targeting Magnificent. There's also the cruiser line coming in. So we definitely do want to complete our turn here. And the first group is still in a good position for a crossfire. However, the Repulse is trying to come in and save Warspite. What's our firing solution here? They are straightened out now. So the solution is getting better on Warspite. We might have to shift a fire on Repulse, to be honest. And we'll see if we can get some shots in on the Magnificent. And then there's a whole line of heavy cruisers coming behind, and then we'll sort these out as well once everything is done and dusted. But Hansa can now is taking the brunt of fire now, so we will complete the turn. And then Deflinger can take some of the heat. They are shooting at Magnificent. Warspite is continuing to take FOBs. What is that? Is that another destroyer? What is that? That is a light cruiser. Okay, it looks like we do need to shift our fire temporarily towards that light cruiser. Second battle line. Get you back up to flank speed, and keep targeting the Magnificent, and see if we can get some hits in on that thing. Warspite is coming about. She is flooding, but not catastrophically so. Magnificent is flooding as well, so both of these ships we should be able to take down if we can get a couple good hits in. Right now they're just partial penetrations on the deck armor from the plunging fire. There is... what is this? Is that another destroyer? We do need to be careful with destroyers. Yes, that is, I believe, a destroyer by the looks of it. So a second group, where's that destroyer coming in? Focus your secondaries on that destroyer, and first group take down that light cruiser, which is coming in for a suicide run by the looks of it. But we should be able to take that down without too much problems. And that destroyer is relatively far away, so the solution on the main guns is not great. Hansa has taken a 4-belt penetrating hit from one of the enemy battleships. She might need to turn away a little bit more just to make sure that we are getting the angles right. And can we take down this light cruiser, please? Because she is coming in probably for a torpedo run. So first Bismarck does need to take down that light cruiser. We are getting uncomfortably close to the enemy battle line. So I'm also going to get first Bismarck to turn away. There's the Prince Crescent and a bunch of the heavy cruisers. So I do want that light cruiser out of the way, however. And we are on 3 kilometer distance. That should be okay. Hansa has a bit of a list. Very, very insignificant list. Is taking some water in the forward compartments, but should be generally okay. She is still engaging, I think, the Magnificent with the main guns, but is not having a great chance of hitting her. We do, however, need that destroyer out of the way. That would be lovely if we could make that happen. And that light cruiser is still fighting. She is flooding. We're still trying to identify her. Yeah, Hansa is starting to take on a couple of hits here. And there are some torpedoes incoming as well, I believe. Yeah, so turning away was the correct decision, because I don't think they will hit. Yeah, I don't think these torpedoes will hit. Hansa has taken a couple of flooding hits. And I am probably going to detach her for now. And let's make sure that Derflinger runs at flank speed, because I think Hansa has lost a bit of speed and is going to target that destroyer now with all guns. Hansa is on fire and is taking on quite a fair amount of water, so I think I might actually have to retire Hansa. We'll sail away for a while. How's the other battle group doing? Lutzo is taking some fire. That is... I'm not sure what that is here. What are we fighting here? Is that another destroyer? That is another destroyer indeed. So that light cruiser doesn't look good, so we can already start focusing the secondaries onto that destroyer. And we'll need to peel these screening forces off again. And we've got Derflinger over here, which is also flooding now. So we've taken care of the destroyer, and that means we can retarget the Magnificent with both the Hansa, but Hansa needs to she is taking on a lot of water, I think. Okay, that's the light cruiser done, and that means the second battle group can take on that destroyer now. Hansa is taking on a lot of water. I think I'm going to retreat Hansa, to be honest. And Derflinger needs to kite away again as well. She is taking a lot of fire, and she can focus on the Magnificent, which has a severe amount of damage. I would love to sink that thing, but the Derflinger is getting pummeled as well from the rear. The second battle group is doing a little better. Does need to turn around and take care of that destroyer, however, which is giving chase here. So let's detach this group as well and make sure that Lutzo takes a hard turn and focus all guns on that destroyer. That thing needs to go before we can re-engage the main group. And on the other side of the battle, Hansa has taken on a lot of water. I am going to just retreat her for now. Derflinger is taking on water in the forward compartments, but it looks like we are getting the damage under control. It would really be lovely if we could take down the Magnificent with us. How does it look like over here? Okay, turn. Hard over. Lutzo, target the destroyer. And first Bismarck, target the destroyer as well. We need that thing out of the way, otherwise we're not getting anywhere. And then Derflinger Derflinger is flooding now quite significantly as well. Okay, that was a good hit on the destroyer. But we really need to take down some of these big guns here. It'd be great if we could get some hits in on the Magnificent. The cruisers are now targeting the other group over here. So we do need to be careful. We ricochet something of a destroyer, really. Yeah, the Lutzo is starting to take some damage here as well. So we do need to. The luck is now more on the side of the British at this point, by the looks of it, because we are wasting time trying to hit that destroyer. Just target the secondaries on that thing. The rest is giving chase on the other side, actually. Now, target everything on that destroyer. We need that thing sunk, such that we can keep that we can turn and engage the engage the other group, because we might be able to get some flanking fire in. All the while the ships on the other side. How does it look? Derflinger looks okay. And that's the other group. That's the Hansa. Yeah, Hansa is retreating, and here we are. We can actually turn that into a battle line. There. Okay, so Lutzo is taking point at this point, and both of them need to concentrate their fire on that destroyer and make sure that that thing goes down. And the Derflinger is getting a little bit too far away now. She is still landing hits on whatever that is. That's the Magnificent. She is landing hits on the Magnificent. No, actually, I think her position is good as is. Just keep your course. Keep landing hits on the Magnificent. These two need to. I don't want to drop speed. I will drop speed and turn the other way, just in case there are torpedoes away. She has no torpedoes. That's the Rother. I don't know if she launched her torpedoes already or if she's just got none left. But I would love that thing to be sunk. But we should be sufficient to fire the secondaries on that, and can get the main guns onto the Warspite. That is a bit of a far one, but we need to check first if she's got torpedoes away. Yeah, there they come. So I was right. We need to avoid those torpedoes. How's the Derflinger doing? Derflinger is kind of pulling the line in the other direction and is trying to make something happen against Magnificent. And the other line is dealing, unfortunately, still with the stupid torpedoes. But once we have these evaded, then we should be good to re-engage. The destroyer is out of torpedoes, so honestly, I don't really care about it that much. But we should be able to re-engage. I would love to get Warspite gun, to be honest, and Magnificent. These two are my kind of main targets. Unfortunately, that is an 11-kilometer range, so I think we've managed to avoid the torpedoes. Let's go back to all-ahead flank, complete the turn, and we'll see if we can make something happen. The British battle line is giving chase on Derflinger, so instead of trying to hit the lead ships there, as much as I would love to, because they are almost 13 kilometers out, we're going to start focusing our fire on the trailing heavy cruisers with Lützow and 1st Bismarck, and we will turn about and see if we can give chase there. Meanwhile, Derflinger is still kiting away from this line and is in a gun duel with the Magnificent and is trying to make something happen, but Derflinger is also, well, no, Derflinger is good on ammunition. We're actually going to probably get back to normal fire solutions and be a bit more aggressive. We are still good on armor-piercing ammunition. Derflinger, however, has taken some fire, so we do have to be careful, might have to kite away a bit more. All the while the second group is coming in. Nope, that's not what I was trying to do. Detach that and get these two lined up again. Okay, 1st Bismarck and Lützow. Yeah. So we're now targeting the, which one's that? The Powerful, the heavy cruiser in the rear, and we will try to engage this group from the other side, while it's still operating at flank speed. The Derflinger is disengaging, and the Hansa is somewhat crippled, so she's trying to run for now. But it looks like Derflinger is drawing all of the fire. Magnificent still up. We are doing damage on the enemy battle line. So once we are a little closer, we can again focus our fire onto the battleships. But for now, we're just taking on the heavy cruisers in the rear here. It looks like that the British formation has realized the threat and has actually let off Derflinger, which means she can turn around and assist again from the other side. But now Lützow is drawing fire. Right now we are engaging the heavy cruiser, the Powerful, and that thing is extremely slow. So I think we should be able to once we have. I'm not sure if these have torpedoes. Yes, they do. So we do have to watch out with torpedoes. But the idea is to take out the heavy cruisers from the rear here, and we are turning around. We're turning around Derflinger, who has taken a beating but is still afloat and is still trying to engage. Although her, we're going to switch her back to saving ammunition because she is running a little low, and her chances of hitting anything are very low at this distance. So we're going to get her to turn around and re-engage again from the other side. All the while we are trying to take down this heavy cruiser, but we are having trouble hitting it. We're getting some good hits here. That looked not too bad. The line, I think, is coming about, so we'll see if we can take down this heavy cruiser, and then we probably want to... the distance is good for now. I would like to take down one of the heavy cruisers, and then we can start... What do we have here? We've got the Prince Consort and the Warspite, and the rest, and there's the Magnificent turning around. So the whole group is now turning, which means we do need to at some point open up the distance again and get them to chase us, because also our armor angles are not particularly great, and they still have superior firepower towards us. But it looks like we are struggling to actually hit. Now we've got some good hits in on the powerful. She is flooding. She's lost one of her engines. And I'm thinking after that we'll take on Warspite, because she's already damaged. We have Deathlinger turning around and coming back into the battle. That is a good distance. Deathlinger can start targeting the Gibraltar, because she's the one coming actually in this direction. Everybody else is currently maneuvering fiercely. The powerful has taken on some water, but we do need a couple more. We do need a couple more good hits. We do have to, however, be careful with the rest of them, which are currently in a wild maneuver, especially with the enemy battle cruisers, because we are giving flat broadside at this point. So maybe we want to start turning away a little bit, as we are taking quite a bit of penetrating hits now from the enemy at this range. We are fighting at 6 kilometers, which is a little bit close for comfort. But it turns out hitting this cruiser is not as easy as it looks, and it is relatively heavily armored. So we might be actually better off trying to... I would love to finish him off, but I think we are going to start switching our fire to Warspite, and we're just going to open up the distance a little bit and the angles, all the while we are getting Deathlinger back into the fight, and see if she can do something from the other side. She doesn't have a great chance of hitting anything either. So let's see how that goes. But definitely a very diminished group of ships, still a very powerful group, so not to be underestimated. And I'd love to take down Warspite and maybe Magnificent. That would be a serious blow towards their firepower. So let's see if Lützow and First Bismarck can make that happen. They are, I think, not the fastest anymore at this point. They can do 13 and 14 knots respectively. So we're still significantly faster than them. It's just that we can't close in with the 2 enemy battle cruisers still around, and a decent number of heavy cruisers. But we'll see what that looks like when Lützow closes in. And we might actually not Lützow, Deathlinger. We might actually turn about again and get in there. And yeah, just keep targeting Warspite. If we can get some good armor-piercing hits in on that thing, that would be a start. And then we'll take down Magnificent next. So we just need to hit her, because these ships are already reasonably damaged, but still they're having quite a list, but still capable of returning fire. So let's keep that course. Get the firing solutions up, and we will close the range with Deathlinger at full speed, and she can let's take on that cruiser over there. We'll see if she can draw some of the fire away from these two, and then we'll play the same game again. The battleships are falling somewhat behind, and yeah, our solutions are not great. Mostly it's the instability from the damage that we've received that is causing these problems. Is there a better target? I would really love to finish off these battleships, but I can't quite get the hits in at this point. The chances are very low for us to actually hit them at this range. What's the range now? 8.9. And obviously at the same time we are subjected to the fire from all these other ships here. So while I would love to finish them off, I'm not sure that's necessarily going to happen that easily. Okay, let's see. See what Deflinger can do coming in from the other side and providing some much needed crossfire. Okay, Deflinger has landed a big hit on the powerful, which is now sinking. And she can start shifting her fire to the next cruiser. We are turning the first group around, and we'll assist with crossfire here for now because we're really not getting any hits in on the enemy battle line. Although, nah, let's keep targeting the Magnificent. What's our? We're still making 24 knots, and the first Bismarck is still good. Oh, okay, nice, good hits here from the Deflinger on that. On the Ariadne, so she's doing the work here while while this whole group was distracted. But we do have to be careful with the others. They are in a turn here, however. So I think Deflinger can somewhat chase them down at this point, and we'll slightly correct the course. But she is going to. How's she on ammunition? We're going back to normal here as well. It's taking some return fire from the heavy cruisers. But she might be able to take down another one or two of the heavy cruisers. All the while we are turning the group around and are still trying to get some hits in on the enemy capital ships. I would really love to get these two battleships sunk, and then if we need to disengage after that, that will be okay. But it looks like the Ariadne is taking some pretty heavy fire from the Deflinger. She's still in fighting shape, but definitely some good hits coming in here. We'll just have to make sure that Deflinger herself is not taking undue damage. We are running a little low on armor-piercing shells on the 150s. She has got a decent solution on the main guns. So let's get the second group turned about. They can do, I think, due to the damage, the best they can do is 23 knots at this point. And yeah, keep targeting Magnificent and see if you can build up a firing solution at that thing, all the while closing the distance a little bit. And while we are watching Deflinger taking apart these cruiser escorts in the rear here. We do have to be careful with the battle cruisers, but they are sailing away. So we can definitely keep giving chase. We are starting to score hits on the Magnificent. She is in a turn, so we have really thrown their positioning off here. And Deflinger continues to pummel the Ariadne, and will keep closing in. Although she has taken quite a beating, she's still fully operational, and we will see if we can manage to. Take these cruisers down from the rear, all the while the rest of the group is closing in. If we can take out the Magnificent, that would be ideal. We will close the range a little bit more. They still have a significant amount of firepower, but I do want these two damaged British battleships out of the picture if possible. And then we can focus fire on the remaining battle cruisers and see if we can take them out. That was a good penetration for a flooding hit. And it looks like the Magnificent is taking on water in the bow section as well now. We've taken out her main tower. And yeah, now we're starting to be in a range where we still have problems with our own gunnery due to the damage that we've sustained. The first Bismarck is starting to run a little bit low on ammunition, to be honest. The Lützow is still okay. And how's Deflinger doing back here? Deflinger is doing okay on ammo. But the Ariadne is running, so Deflinger again needs to turn and keep the... actually, I'm thinking of... I'm going to shift fire from Deflinger onto Magnificent now, so we can focus all our fire onto these ships while she's turning. First Bismarck's taken a nasty hit in the stern section and starting to take on in the aft belt. Has taken a nasty hit in the aft belt. And we're still trying to wear down the Magnificent. They have changed their fire, I believe, into onto Derflinger. So I'm going to risk staying the course with the first Bismarck here, and keep pummeling that British battleship and see if we can get her down. Lützow, yeah, first Bismarck is taking on water in the stern section and has lost rudder control from that penetrating hit on the aft belt. But we are in a really good crossfire position at this point. We may actually have to be a little bit more careful with Derflinger, however. We'll see. Right now, I want to focus fire everything onto the Magnificent and see if we can take this thing down, and then do the same to the Warspite. It shouldn't take too much more. First Bismarck is starting to take on a lot of water, however. So I may have to do something there. But for now, we'll maintain course and keep the fire going against the British battleship. Yeah, firing solutions are as good as they're going to get. We are running low on armor piercing, but getting some hits here. Okay, that was a nice penetrating hit. What was that? That was 305's aft belt, and we just need. She has lost rudder control as well, and the Derflinger, I think, is now coming a little close, honestly. No, it's fine. They're still in a turn. That is a little close, however. So I might actually turn her about, because the rest of the gang is starting to turn around here. And we still have these two in a perfect broadside position against Magnificent. They just need to manage to set to. They are so close by each other that even our missing hits are now starting to find their targets. But yeah, Derflinger needs to be careful not to get too close, because they still have two fully operational battle cruisers. So another fire. Secondary gun battery destroyed. More flooding in the forward section on the Magnificent. She is in a pretty bad shape, but I want that thing sunk if possible. And if Lützow and first Bismarck can make that happen, that would be amazing. We just need a couple more good hits. Another penetrating hit, another flood. And how's Derflinger doing? Derflinger is doing okay. I think we'll hold that course and maintain fire against the Magnificent with all guns. We've got the heavy cruiser still operational as well on the enemy side. I am a bit worried about Bismarck's flooding situation, but we will see how that goes. And that was a good penetrating hit. Another flood on the Magnificent. Come on, she cannot be on for that much longer. How's the bulkheads on these things? Reinforced bulkheads, but I'm not sure where to find that. Boilers, engines, shaft room, steering. I'm sure it says somewhere. Oh, there, many bulkheads. Okay, there we go. Right, so they are currently targeting. I think they're currently targeting Derflinger. Yeah, so Derflinger is pulling them and is maintaining fire on the Magnificent, while the Lützow group is maintaining course here and is trying to take down that battleship, which is running very low on ammunition as well. Another penetrating hit from the Derflinger over here. It takes some work to get these ships sunk. I can give you that. Lützow and first Bismarck are starting to draw a lot of fire from the heavy cruisers, and I'm still trying to sink the Magnificent, which is now giving chase on Derflinger, which has a good solution, but is running relatively low on armor-piercing shells. And we keep inflicting punishing damage on this battleship, but she just won't go down. We are taking out second. Okay, they're returning fire now on the other side, so they are now starting to target Lützow. I think we need to detach these two and start turning away. I think the better they can start targeting Warspite or maybe the heavy cruisers, to be honest, because they are starting to cause a bit of trouble here. Yeah, Lützow is starting to take some punishing fire, and first Bismarck as well. Let's start switch our fire to the Niobe and get these. I think we need to get these two out of here. Honestly, I think everybody. No, not put them in the battle line. Detach that. It's not what I was trying to do. Nope. Okay. All right. This doesn't work for some reason. There we go. Okay, now we've got the lines detached. Yeah. Lützow needs to kite away, and Bismarck as well. I think we are at the point where we are at the limit of our fighting capabilities. And I would really have loved to take down the Magnificent, but it's just proving to be significantly harder than I thought. And Derflinger still opening fire, but I think Lützow and first Bismarck are done for at this point. I am going to try and retreat from the battle with these and see if we. Yep, there also come some torpedoes. Tell me that we can dodge this. I think we'll be okay. So I think they do need to. I think we need to disengage at this point. We have, as much as I would have loved to sink them all, Derflinger also is taking too much damage and does need to retreat. So we will see if we can get out of here, but I don't want to risk losing our battle cruisers at this point. And I thought it would have been a lot easier to get the Magnificent and the Warspite sunk, because they are relatively heavily damaged. But they can just take too much punishment, honestly, and we are actually starting to run low on armor-piercing ammunition. So we're going to get everybody to retreat and see that Derflinger is running structurally relatively low and needs to get out of there as well. So. Well, we'll see. We'll see if we might actually just refocus everybody's fire on the Magnificent and see if anybody can still inflict enough damage for that thing to go down. But I definitely do want to get out of here at this point, because they have just taken too much damage, and I would like to disengage. After an hour-long engagement, with all our ships battered and bruised and running low on ammunition, we have disengaged from the British, but we have inflicted yet another crushing victory on the enemy home fleet. Outnumbered vastly, our 4 modern battle cruisers have caused severe damage to the Magnificent and the Warspite, and we have managed to sink 8 destroyers and 2 light cruisers for a total of 10 ships, as well as 1 of the heavy cruisers that was escorting. Our fleet returning from the Mediterranean should hopefully now have safe passage through the English Channel, and we should be... and we've heard that British politicians are now demanding that the government sue for peace with Germany after 2 defeats in a row that have put a crushing blow to the British prestige and the prestige of the Royal Navy.